I wouldn't say that I like him, but I found him funnier, more entertaining, like than Kamala.
That might be the case, but like, I mean, like, it's not a stand-up comedy special. It's President of the United States, right?
I know
Like,
it's kind of hilarious, right? That you would think that the person who has the best interest for the. Oh, I'm glad you mentioned that because hopefully we can agree to this. Do you either agree or concede that all of the candidates, Kamala, Biden, and Trump, have the best interests? They want the best for our country. Do you agree with that, or
absolutely
do you disagree?
not.
No. Okay. So we cannot agree to that. Well,
Wait, you think that Donald Trump has the best interest in the country at heart?
I want to believe so.
Can you explain Trump coin?
For his investors, like his cronies, perhaps, yes. I mean, I would concede that.
That doesn't. The investors are not America, right? That's not.
Right, but like, so it's America. Okay, so that brings me to think about, okay, what is America? Are we not a capitalistic? Like, do you agree that we pursue, the pursuit of what's the American dream, like wealth, happiness, something like that? But I'm not saying that he wants that for all of us, but all
Just
of us.
for the people that are investing in his company.
We all. Wait, and I'm gonna go to immigration after this, but I guess my response to that is it not like the American dream to have the opportunity to accumulate wealth for yourself and for your children as immigrants or as.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Just a little closer to the mic there. Dan.
Sorry
Yeah,
about
thank you,
that.
thank you.
So, do I believe that Trump represents? I'm not saying he's perfect, but does he represent the American dream? No. Now, if that's for everyone, we can debate that. But like I said, I'm not the biggest Trump supporter, but I am unconvinced why Kamala would have been a stronger candidate than Trump.
I mean, what area? I mean, we could do like for rule of law. I don't think she would have been as violative of the law as Trump has been.
So in terms of legislation, I know that Trump passed recently the one big beautiful bill. He effectively is giving tax cuts, right? Deregulation. That is his claim to accomplishments.
Yeah, but I mean, for the tax cuts, I think it's kind of bad that he's giving tax cuts without pairing it with spending cuts if your goal was to reduce the deficit and the debt, right?
Right. I mean, I agree that Biden had a more comprehensive, more like long-term thought out probably strategy, but at the end of the day, you're not gonna like what I'm gonna say next, I'm sorry. At the end of the day, I feel like Trump and basically the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, as coming out as a Democrat, I feel like they are two sides of the same coin, which is again why I disillusion myself believing there could be a third, foolish me for.
Well, so again, like we can focus on any particular area. I don't know how we can say they're two sides of a different coin when they have incredibly different positions on all the major areas of policy.
Well, I don't really want to go too much on a tangent, but for example, for surveillance, would you decide that Trump or Kamala are more pro, say, Big Brother surveillance state?
Well, given that Donald Trump just recently announced an investigation into Jack Smith because he was unhappy with being investigated by the DOJ, I would say I'm much more fearful of the guy who's writing specific lawyers' names into executive orders that he wants to prosecute, or the guy who's suing media companies because he doesn't like the coverage they're giving him, or the guy who's suing pollsters because he doesn't like the polls that they're issuing, or the guy who is asking for information about students to kick them out of the United States because they might support Palestine, or the guy who's using ICE to kick people out of the country with masks and invoking the Alien Enemies Act to do it, or the guy, I feel like...
Yeah, I mean, I want to talk about immigration exercise. That's very personal for me, but in terms of kicking people out of the country.
Also,
right?
wait, what was the big company? This is like the one story I didn't follow because I usually don't care about this. I want to say Interferon. I know it's not that. What? Palantir. Oh, yeah. Weren't they trying to make some big, like, fucking list from Palantir or whatever of, like, U.S. citizen identities and all this shit? Wasn't that a huge deal?
Under the Trump administration?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And I'm sorry. I mean, and please educate me. Would that not have happened under any circumstance, regardless of who won the election?
I think it was a very unique thing that the Trump admin was pursuing, yeah. Like most of the things they pursue, they're very special.
I'm not even debating whether or not Palantir will be good or bad. I'm just making the claim that it would be a matter of fact that it would have happened anyway.
Well, but I mean, it didn't under 4 years of Biden. I don't think they were ever going to pursue anything like that. I don't think they ever had the desire or expressed the desire to pursue anything like that.
Well, I mean, it was the Biden administration, but it would have been Kamala who would have been. I'm not saying Kamala would have been a bad candidate. I'm not saying.
I mean,
I'm not
Kamala didn't
attacking
mention
her.
anything about pursuing relationships with anybody to monitor Americans more closely.
I was going to mention the what is it called? The Counterterrorism Act of 1995, which did not pass, but that was the precursor of the Patriot Act. I think in 2001, Biden had mentioned that, that's basically his bill, but, that somebody else pushed. But I don't want to go into like tangents, into like
We're going to
conspiracy
tangent as much
theories.
as you want. When we're looking at the presidents, I don't understand where the equivalency comes from between what Kamala would have looked like to Trump. Like Kamala wouldn't have written executive orders targeting individual law firms, right?
Right.
Kamala probably wouldn't have gone after individual schools seeking 9-figure payouts for she
like
thought they
where-
had DEI or didn't have enough DEI, right?
Well, I like where you're going with that because in my mind, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm, again, disillusioned, but Trump, he has, I guess tactically, he does more actions, whether or not they're good decisions. He is more, I guess, impulsive. He makes irrational decisions, kind of like short-term decisions, where I feel like the Biden, like us in his, passing legislation would have been more, like say, for example, who increased the deficit more technically Biden, but he had countermeasures to kind of offset it. So it was more comprehensive, more, he was more strategic about his policy making compared to Trump, which may seem, short-sighted. You could argue it's more like a Queen's Gambit kind of strategy. It's like, oh, I'm just going to keep, forcing, cash in on my political capital and get the ball rolling now, rather than.
This idea of just giving credit to somebody for doing things, I don't think. Like if I go online, I sign up for, I want like a dating coach, and one guy's like, oh, well, I've, fucked 50 chicks, and the other guy's like, I fucked 1,000 chicks. It's like, I'm gonna go with the guy that fucked 1,000 chicks. And then I go to this guy's like class and I walk in and it's Epstein.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
the
of
fact
course.
that the guy, like that's just not a thing that I would be in favor of. Like, yeah, Donald Trump has a lot more actions, but I think they're really bad actions. And the fact that he's willing to do a lot of them, I don't think it's props for that, yeah.
Well,